Okay, I can't see. There we go. Hey, everybody. Let me make sure I can hear you. Someone give me a sound check. Did someone say anything? Let me see if I can. This is weird.
If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it.
All right, there it is. Okay, so I can hear you up here. Okay. I got the video. You know, I never have to go. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? About time Tempest taught me something. And about this here.
About time you listen to what I've been trying to tell you.
Is that right?
You're a hard-headed student.
Well, no. I've been hearing that my whole life now. Let's be transparent around here. That ain't the first time I heard that. Week 2, sex transmutation. I'm going to break a few things down inside of this one so we can clear up. I left the waters very muddy last week, and we argued. In the definition of argue, that means that we presented solid evidence towards one another and deliberated some good stuff. That's the definition of argument, not, how we said in our house. Don't you argue with me. Not that one. The meaning of the word transmute is, in simple language, the changing or the transferring of one element or form of energy into another. I'm going to repeat it one more time. And we're going to see if we can catch it. This is, please. The meaning of the word transmute, in simple language, the changing or transferring of one element or form of energy into another. Now, someone tell me what I just said.
Would that be like turning water to wine? Well, those elements are the same. So would you say making a solid to a liquid or a liquid to a gas?
I would accept all those answers. Even the water to wine. You were more accurate when you said liquid to a solid or liquid to a gas, however you said it. You're more accurate there because the second example is energy. The water into wine, if you said that Jesus used energy to do so, then you could do that too. The reason why water being water, then water turned into a solid, and then water turned into a gas is energy, is because the more energy those molecules receive, it changes total forms. So your second example was spot on, fantastic accuracy. How much energy can I put into this water to make it a gas? And of course, we know 212. Oh, maybe we don't know. At what boiling point, 212 degrees Fahrenheit, is when water boils. 212. 212 degrees Fahrenheit. What that means is, here's what some of you are doing in your life right now. You got it working. And you know what? Tempest, I'm doing better. It's working. I'm at 211 degrees. You know what, Ralph? You stay at 211 degrees your whole life, you'll never boil. Think about this for a second. If you stay at 211 forever, you will never boil. You'll just evaporate. Wish I had somebody. I'm trying to. Did y'all hear what I said? Did that work? Some of y'all are stuck at 211 thinking you're doing a good job because you're hotter than everybody else. 211 don't boil. 212 does. 212 does. Got me? Yes. All right, get yourself out of 211. Now, the emotion, basically what he is explaining here, we're going to do this very quickly, and I'm going to go higher level of awareness and much quicker. What he is explaining here is, in order to change sex energy, to transform it to another energy, or in the way James Jackson III said, in order to change sex that is water into sex that is gas, you need, right, something you must do. Now, if you're thirsty, you want water, yes? Right. If you're thirsty, do you want me to give you steam and say breathe? Please know, water has its place, gas has its place. If you're cold and I give you steam, does that do you a favor? Yes. If you're cold and I throw water on you, does that do you a favor? Sometimes water has its place, sometimes water does not. We're just simply transforming the sex energy into an energy that serves us. I'm going to stop right here. If you do not understand what I'm saying, which is no problem at all, or if you have questions, or if you just want to say it out loud, because when you say it and hear yourself hear it, it makes a connection in your head, now is the time. Either ask a question, ask me to repeat, or say it out loud, repeat me in your own way so you can get it. Go.
Can I put it in my own way to try and understand it?
Absolutely. That's how a lot of people learn that way. Go ahead.
Okay. I've been doing this when it comes to like healing work and stuff like that, where I'm trying to transmute, let's just say if I'm always angry, and this time I use that anger to get a lesson out of it or something like that. So I've transmuted that anger. Okay. Okay.
Beautiful. The first time I heard that kind of language talking, I was listening to Denzel Washington. I was watching with my grandmother who's sleeping with her ancestors. She was watching Strong Side. What's that? Remember the Titans. All right. It's always a movie buff that can get it. And he was telling the white football players and the black football players that had anger towards each other, you harness that anger and direct that aggression to football, you'll be something. What he was saying was, you've been taught to be racist. And you've been taught to hate racists. But neither being racist or rejecting racism is serving you on this football field. But if you harnessed it and changed the energy of that hatred, and because hatred both ways, hate that you're doing it to me and hate that you exist. If you harness that anger and stop cussing people out, then you can actually finish something on your to-do list. Fair enough? Good job, MOD. Who else needs to say it over for yourself or ask me a question so you can get it too? That was a very good example she did. You're right. Grace said that was a very good example you did, MOD. And you're right. It was a good example. Maybe you don't need to say it for you. Maybe you want to say it in a different way so someone else can get it. Okay, the way she said it helped you. Unmute your mic and tell them.
Oh, I was telling Antonio MOD that the way you said it helped me, because you and we deal with anger a lot, and so that way, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, that way when you use anger and when you transfer that emotion, that energy somewhere else to a more productive, more prosperous thing, it's being transmuted. Thanks, MOD.
You're welcome.
Good stuff. Anthony, Anthony of Hawaii, I believe you wanted to say something? Probably not. Okay. Now.
Good evening. Good evening. How are we doing?
Evening, sir. Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. I'm just changing my location. That's why I'm off screen right now. And sorry about my lateness.
Oh, no problem. No problem. We were talking about transmutation, or transmute is the actual word. Mutation is just a form of the word. And in this mutation, keep doing it. In this transmute, we are simply explaining what it is.
Okay.
I didn't do that last class, but I didn't want to. What I wanted to do was just get you talking about what you know and get you all emotional about it. That's what I wanted to do. Now let's see, would transmute be the same as metamorphosis? If you're using metamorphosis in the way that Greek word is, yes. Let's find someone, Google what metamorphosis is.
Metamorphosis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Okay. Chantel says mission accomplished. TJ says 99.5 won't do it. That's old school, but she ain't lying. Metamorphosis. I know. Since I speak Greek, I know exactly what the word. It's two words put together. The first one is I'm going to read it here real quick. The first one is what you call preposition. Metamorphosis has a change of the form or nature of a thing or a person into a completely different one by natural or supernatural means. As long as he's using the definition, yes, absolutely, because you're changing the nature and the form of something. Are we clear on transmute? Good. Outstanding. I'm getting happy here. Hey, Tibbs, maybe the co-host. I'm getting happy here. Outstanding. Here we go. A caterpillar to a butterfly is yes. That's a great example. A caterpillar to a butterfly is probably the most powerful answer so far. And second to that would be James's answer. Because the caterpillar and the butterfly are one and the same. They're just simply two stages of the same thing. I'm going somewhere now. Napoleon Hill is explaining to you sex energy and transmuting it to your goals are one and the same thing. They're just two stages of the same thing. My uncle that got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and talk like, "Hey, you like your day?" That uncle, he'll tell you this way. You was 17, you was trying to get you some. Now you 47, you trying to get you some legacy.
Hey, can you repeat that for me? I didn't catch all of it.
So yeah, because you young enough for me to repeat it too. You 26, ain't you? James, how old are you? 26?
Yes, sir. 26.
26. So you young still. You still trying to get you some. What you need to be doing is getting you some specified knowledge. Getting you some, right, something that serves your future, not just trying to get something. And it's harder to do that at 26 than it is to do it at 46. You know why? It's not that he doesn't have self-control, because he can have it. He can totally have it and master it, and that's why he would be successful at such a young age. Not that a 26-year-old doesn't have self-control. They have a lot to prove. And since he would have so much to prove, without the education, without the specific education, I'm using terms from Napoleon Hill now, without organized planning, good job, there's another organized, without organized knowledge, and there's one more, without organized intelligence, all these Napoleon Hill words, without organizing that intelligence somewhere specific, he takes this energy that is the most powerful force on earth, but since it doesn't become the butterfly, he's a caterpillar jumping off a tree, falling to destruction, instead of a butterfly jumping off a tree, flying away beautifully. Pause right here. This is not the bulk of what we're going to talk about. But I like to teach in sections. Someone tell me, what have you learned about transmute or transmuting?
And so,
I'll go first.
okay.
Okay, I'll take both of you.
No, ladies
Let's
first.
go you, Brian. Ladies first. Chantel, then Brian.
Well, truthfully, what I'm receiving is exactly what it is. You're taking energy and you are channeling it towards success, towards something that you desire, towards more than. Literally, I can't think of it in any other term than what it is. I like, even listening to the examples, I'm like, okay, now I'm confused. But when I think of it, you're transferring that energy, that feeling, that emotional attachment to it, how it makes you feel inside. I love what they said, and he said in the book, he talked about women and then men. How you like your brother, don't you? You like your father, don't you? But how you like a man, you don't like them the same as you like love your brother and your father. It's a different type of feeling and emotional attachment to it. And to take that into that powerful source, to first one, realize how powerful it is, that it is, I can't find the word, but I'll just say deserving and worthy enough to utilize in something greater than.
Yeah, great. I got no problem with none of that. No problem with none of that at all. Good job. And you're right. At the end of the day, I'm just explaining what it is. But we need to understand transmute before we move on. So thank you, Chantel. Appreciate you. There's a word for what Chantel is talking about, between the love the woman would have for a man and the love a woman would have for a father. It's called intimacy. Intimacy. English. In English, we have words. Let's call it love. Let's say that intimacy, but the word is intimacy, but let's use it in love. In English, we take these, since we borrow from all sorts of languages, we take love and it means so much. In Greek, there's 3 different words for love. Phileo, brotherly love. That's where Philadelphia comes from, anything like that. And it's also where philosophy comes from. Sophia, or Sophia, as you understand it, means wisdom. Phil means love of wisdom, philosophy. Get it? Yeah. Now, eros is romantic love, as Chantel was talking about with your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever your sexual preference is, or your gender as well, not to be offensive to anybody. Agape is the love that you would commonly know as, depends, I'll use some emotional subjects here. Jesus died on the cross, that's agape love if you're of the Christian faith. Or a mother lifting a car off the chest of her baby. Not unconditional, it's self-sacrificing. The mother can't lift a car, period. But when her baby is about to die, she risks her whole body, ripping tendons, ligaments, all sorts of stuff, and finds strength through this sacrifice to save her child. That's a different kind of love. That's a sacrificial love. You get it? That's when I jump in front of a bullet for you so you can live. You understand what I'm saying? There's some teachers that do this. They're the heroic teachers that have Sandy Hook. When well, let me talk about Sandy Hook, far different than the tone I have right now. Sandy Hook too terrible, too tragic, and somehow we've made it normal. There were teachers that did not run. They shielded their children. That's not brotherly love. Brotherly love is, I got my check. It's not eros love because they're not pedophiles. It was, let me die for you so you can live. I will shield harm from you with my body if I can't shield it with a bulletproof vest. You get it? That's 3 different types of love. Filial, brotherly love, agape, self-sacrificing love. And I use that example as you and I are married. I have to give you a heart transplant so you can live on. I'm the only match for you. That's agape love. I'm going to die giving you life. Agape love. Eros love is, did you run this bubble bath? You know what I'm saying? Now, the word for that Chantel was just saying was, she didn't use love. What word did she use? I can't remember. She was using, I forget what word she was using. But that's what we do in English. No, I say intimacy. That's what we do with words in English. We just combine them all. But we get that. That's why I'm going over transmutation so hard. Brian, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm here. What I got out of all of it, and I understand it more, that's why I asked about metamorphosis. Okay, wait. Good job. That's why I asked about metamorphosis and utilize the example of a caterpillar to a butterfly. Because I was thinking of the word transmute. I was looking at trans and just thinking that it's a transfer, and it's way beyond, it's way greater than just a transfer. It's a changing of energy, which means that it's a change of focus. It's a change of, instead of trying to make sure my daughter ain't right here. Instead of trying to conquer my wife, how about I conquer my dream? Make sense?
Yes, that's definitely a great way that would help you.
Right.
There's another way to say that. Let me save you on a recorded line. Okay. Instead of trying to conquer your wife, how about we cherish your wife?
By conquering these dreams.
Energy.
Yeah.
No. Let's take it. Yes, you're right. You're right. Conquer your dreams. But Napoleon here is going to go deeper and somehow tie your burning desires, not to just lift you, but to lift others around you as well. And what I'm attempting to do, and the reason I'm doing this with you, because you had the greatest example thus far. And your example was so great, but you, in the explanation of your example, are not capturing how great your example was. Same energy, 2 transformations of this energy. The conquer my wife, you're right there, conquer my dreams. You got it, you spot on. But let's go back to Napoleon Hill's definition of transmutation, okay? You spot on. Let's go back though. You got 1/3 of it. Transmutation is the changing. That's what, you didn't do that. You transferred. You see it? You transferred conquering from your wife to conquering to the dreams. You didn't change that energy. You transferred it. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's a transfer.
Okay. And that's what I'm thinking with transmute, transfer.
There you go. And there is a time that there's plenty of times you're going to have to transfer energy. MOD was saying that. I'm a transfer from being ticked off to ticked off of my dreams. Yes? That's a transfer of energy. But there's more. Before I said transfer, I said changing. And this is what you were saying with your caterpillar butterfly. You had the greatest example. If we can get caterpillar to butterfly, is this whole chapter. And how the caterpillar is not different from the butterfly, nor is the butterfly different from the caterpillar. It's just what you perceive in your perception. But as far as the DNA and the genome of the butterfly and the caterpillar, they're one and the same. They never change, and the caterpillar never ceases to stop being the butterfly, and the butterfly has always been the caterpillar. And I need you to get this. The caterpillar, there we go. You keep saying it over and over, you mess it up. Never ceases to not be the butterfly. But the butterfly has always and forever will be the caterpillar. I'm stressing this for a reason. Because that's transmutation. Not even transferring is transmutation though. It is just a lower form of transmutation, but an acceptable form. Changing from now when you finish transferring, the book specifically says transferring from one element or one form of energy to another. Please know Napoleon Hill never talks about the transfer of energy. He talks about the changing of energy or the transferring of energy from one element to another, not transferring. Those are two different things. Go ahead, I'll let you talk. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, so are you saying it's more like if I am a smoker, the energy that I put into smoking a cigarette, I can take that and read a book and educate myself, or instead of when I get the urge to scream at somebody, take that energy and instead of screaming at someone, go and run a mile.
Yes. The second one was perfect.
The second one was better than the first one. Now, as far as smoking, the most common practice of transmuting that energy is to chew gum.
Okay.
Right, it's to chew gum. You keep that. You see Alcoholics Anonymous. Y'all may be too safe for this. They really strong coffee. Really strong coffee versus, you get it? Or you have someone like me that'll go from vodka to wine. Hard drink to soft drink is what that would be. You understand what I'm saying? Or you just said it. Let's say I have a drug addiction. I want to kick it. Now I go work out. Do you see the complete, Brian, I mean, you might for me, Brian, because this is, I want you to get it more than anybody. Because the reason I want you to get it more than anybody is because your awareness, in this case, surpassed your intellect. And you understand this more than what you understand. The big mind you answered for you. The little mind you was trying to catch up. That's why I want you to get it more than anybody. You there, Brian?
I understand what you're saying.
And you've been right from the beginning. When you just try to intellect, what you did was you answered me with your intellect and not your awareness.
Got you.
Exactly. When you go from drugs to working out, that is a complete transfer of one element to the other. When you go from smoking cigarettes to chewing gum, it's a complete transfer of one element to another. And the best example so far is when you go from a caterpillar to a butterfly. It is a complete transfer of one element to another. I'm walking you to a place because I need you to get this. Brian, I'm going to help you understand it even better. Anybody who is in Christ Jesus
Come on, man.
is a new creature.
Okay, I get it now.
And now you understand that scripture. We've made that scripture a metaphor. We say, well, I'm new now. Why? Because it's a new day. You haven't transformed total elements. The same old habits you have is the same old habits you have today. You're just saved. You haven't been transformed.
Okay, get out my foot now.
All right, there you go. Now, let's take that out of a religious context. And let me give hope to anyone over this phone. As long as you have transmuted, see, let me talk to FOD for a quick. Where's she at? She on here too? Mm-hmm. All right, FOD. And Grace. And PJ, if she's on here. Because they won't let me see. All three of you. Y'all some angry folk and you know it. Don't even play. Let's not even play. Just don't even play. Don't even play. Now, when you totally transmute, that form of you won't even look like you today. What we do is we go, well, I'm not the same, but that's transferring. That's not what Napoleon Hill was saying. Napoleon Hill wasn't saying just a simple transfer. Transfer is to go from the left hand to the right hand. That's a transfer. My phone's in the left hand, now it's in my right hand. Whoop, 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 whoop. I couldn't resist it. You get it? That's that part. You follow me? It is PJ was a caterpillar, now is a butterfly. It is when Grace says, I would have behaved this way, but now in this total new me, I didn't even notice what you did. Forget the fact that I didn't react. That's transferring. I didn't even notice it. It's not in my awareness. FOD, I would have cussed you out, but you know what? This time, I didn't even feel no urge but to pray for you. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Many people read this chapter. I tell you, this is the best. As far as this is my favorite chapter in the whole book. It's my favorite chapter in the whole book because once I got it, I got me. Shannon said last night, life became good when I found me. Transmutation. Let's go back and let's read the actual definition that he gives. The meaning of the word transmute in simple language, the changing, that's comma. So it's changing, not transferring. Now he's going to use the word transfer, but watch where the comma is. The changing, that's one, or the transferring of one element, that's where the comma goes. So is he saying transfer or transferring of one element? The transferring of one element or form of energy, that's called an appositional phrase. That is a sentence that can be taken out. It's just an apposition of what is being modified. Transferring of one element is being modified, by a form of energy. So the element can be a form of energy. That's all it is. So let's unnerdy the waters real quick. Let's go back. The changing, that's one. Yeah, it wasn't muddy that time. It was nerdy. Everybody has a question. Good. The changing, that's one. But now Napoleon here says, or the transferring of one element to the other. One element into another. If I take out, the reason I said that's an appositional phrase is I can take out an appositional phrase and the sentence still stands and has its meaning. So I'm going to take out the one form of energy. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take out or form of energy because it doesn't need to be there. It's an apposition of a sentence. An appositional phrase would be, let me go back to Bryant's alley again. David, son of Jesse. Son of Jesse can be taken out the sentence. It's just sitting in apposition of the noun David. Jesus, apposition of Nazareth. You don't need that necessarily in the sentence to understand it. So I'm going to take out this part, this clause in apposition, and we're just going to read the sentence for what it is in syntactical language. Okay? The meaning of the word transmute in simple language is the changing or transforming of one element into another. All that means. That's far more simpler now, right? It is the changing or the transferring into one element into another. And the reason why some of you are not getting the harvest that you deserve is because you have not changed. You have transferred. You went from one mediocre version of you to another mediocre version of you. But you have not gone from mediocrity to spectacular. It's not a word, but we're going to make it work. Spectacularism. FOD, let me hear from you.
Okay, so let's play a little game. I'm going to give some
Go
examples,
ahead.
and you tell me which one would be transfer and which one would be transmute, if any of them are, just so I can understand, because I guess I didn't really, yeah, let me just go.
No, that's okay. Before you start, that's why we're doing this, and thank you for jumping in and getting your head clear. Good job.
Okay.
Let's go.
So light to dark.
All right. Light, that's completely transmutation, because it's one form of energy into another, because dark is still light. It is just the absence of light.
Okay.
But it is still energy, and it's still light energy. So that's transmutation.
Okay. God or source to creation.
That is absolutely transmutation, because God, in any field of thought, God or source, well, in most fields of thought, God or source is not only created creation, but it's living in that creation. So what God or source has done is it's taken on another form of creation, which is by definition transmutation.
Okay. And so my story, my coaching, my service, and healing. So before you answer that one, I kind of had a little, I think this might be the answer of it. So if my service gives other people information, that's a transfer. But if my service gives results, that's transmutation. Right?
Okay, I like that. As long as you're taking, I'm gonna make it more powerful, but you're in the right place, because what you're trying to do is get with tangible results, which is the only thing I care about, tangible results. And that's why I will slow down the whole class until everyone is tangibly with me so we can walk together. So when you take your services to understanding or healing, you can say that's a transferable, but well, let me not buddy yet. If you take it to services, to actions and results, that is a transmutation of power, because your services was your actions are now be influencing and becoming their actions. You get it? The energy FOD is holding has influenced me so much, I'm now holding that same energy for my life.
So when does that become only a transfer, not transmutation?
And that is what we call transformational teaching. And it's transfer when you go from a 50-watt light bulb to a 100-watt light bulb. It's transfer when you go from preaching to making you feel good, that's transfer, to preaching to make you transform, that's transmutation. It's transfer when a motivational speaker get on stage and go, everybody listen up, I am Antonio T. Smith Jr., and I'm going to make sure you get it. That is simply transfer. I'm transferring all this high energy for me to the audience. Transmutation is when I say something from the stage and it transforms the entire body of that audience. Not make you feel good or not change my energy to your energy, but now I make you go home with a different thought that destroys your social construct.
Okay, so when you're saying that some of us are not successful because we haven't transmuted, what does it look like to transfer from one mediocre area in your life to another mediocre area in your life? Like, how does that look?
That's transfer.
But how does that look like? Yeah.
97% of the world.
No, how does it look like to transfer from one mediocre to another mediocre in your life?
Sure. Got you. A transfer from one mediocre to another mediocre is I was always mediocre in my life. Okay. Now let me make it more specific. I never committed to me 100%. Now I'm a motivational speaker telling others to commit to them 100%, but I didn't even write my keynote. I came from the hip. And I never write my keynotes. I never transform me, but I'm trying to transform you. Even though I'm pretending or may even be successful at transmuting you, the truth is when you strip away my performance on this stage, I got the same negative habits I had before I was on this stage. Get that one, FOD?
Yes, sir.
That was kind of That was thinking a little bit. Wait a minute. Don't be talking to me. I was asking you a question. You understand? Here is transformation. I'm trying to use transformation, but that's what transmutation. You're gonna say that, it's fine. It's the same thing. Here is transferring, and I'm gonna tell you a story that I love to tell, but I haven't told it in many years. I haven't told it in maybe 8 years. And in the story, you're gonna hear transferring, and the judgment of transferring, and the arrogance of thinking transferring is a standard, and you're gonna hear transmutation. A physicist friend of mine, Mark Ripken, is a Christian. And he describes transformation this way. He says some of us Christians are lighting our Christianity path at 25 watts a light bulb, while some of us are lighting our Christianity path at 50 watts, while the most stellar of us Christians are at 200 watts light bulb on our Christian path. And when we compare each other to the watts, we're always divided. But when you pick up all the light bulbs of Christianity and you pick them up and put them in view of the sun, we all pale in comparison to the light that is the sun. Did y'all hear that? Where was the transfer? Where was the transmutation?
The transfer,
I'm not gonna give
light
hints.
bulbs, the transmutation,
The light
light
bulb
bulb
to
to the
light
sun.
There you go. Light bulb to light bulb, that was all transfer. I'm 20, I'm 50, I'm 200. Transfer. But when you put that light bulb to the sun, that's completely transmutation. Because the sun's light is so great, it lights solar systems. Your light lights your ego. Am I doing okay? Okay. Let's Chantel has a question. Go ahead, Chantel.
Okay, so I'm thinking of this time in my life, like when I was like not as conscious, but I was really getting there and I was learning and I was growing and my level of awareness was more. I realized that I would put so much attention like towards men, and this was like way back when, and I was realizing that I would like try to analyze and figure it out and like sneak into their phone and like put so much energy into it. And I had decided that in this time in my life that I didn't want to have anything attached. My intention was I didn't want a man. I didn't want that at this time. And I didn't want to be attached. So I was telling myself, well, how can I not be attached? Because this emotion is real. Like I can't just not have this emotion. So I was like, okay, whenever I feel the need to want to be like kind of like possessive or like wonder what this person is doing to try to play mind games or get in this person's head, whenever I have that feeling, I would go and put on Grey's Anatomy. And I would literally like do it. Like it was like, I was like, and I would do it with intention to not go into this because I knew it was no good for me. But if I got out of those problems, I rationalized this in my life. I really did. If I took myself from this and put it into somewhere where my mind was distracted and not so focused on this, because Grey's Anatomy would like get me more focused on somebody else's problems type of thing, I felt like I was doing something like better. So is that what we're doing? Is that what we're talking about? Antonio, come on.
I was talking. I was muted. Yeah. All that is transfer. This is why I don't want you all to confuse transmutation with transfer. What she said was, here I am. I'm either sexually aroused. I'm about to go through his phone. So what I'm going to do is, boom, let me go watch his Grey's Anatomy. Yes. That's one mediocre thing to another.
Okay.
It's not bad because it's better to watch Grey's Anatomy than go cut somebody out. You know what I'm saying? It is better to, and I don't mean to be vulgar, but it's not vulgar, but I'm just going to be intelligent here. It is better on a carnal understanding. It is better to masturbate than it is to go cheat. You understand what I'm saying? If you're with someone significant, it is better to please yourself than to go, do the stupid thing you were going to do, right? But that's a lower level of awareness of understanding something. Does everyone follow me? Yeah. It does work. It totally works, but it won't work to get you past your problem. It's just going to work to not create more problems for you. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell a story about Shannon, and then I'm going to let Shannon respond to my story. Then I'm going to pick out PJ because I see her hand up. In that order, I'm going to tell a story about Shannon and let Shannon respond to that story, and then call on PJ. And it's to you, Chantel, but it's not just to you, but it's in continuity to what you're saying. Shannon Clark had that same problem you're talking about, Chantel, and giving men what they did not deserve. And this is her story. I'm not, being inappropriate. This is what, she's done keynotes over this. Now, at first glance, it would seem like she transferred energy, because what she did, she set a date, I think it was like November 13th, and she went from like November 13th to November 13th or something like that. I know it was November, something like that. She set a date, Chantel, to where she would not have any sex or any relationships whatsoever. She would just work on her. Now that seems like transferring, but it was not. It was transmutation, and I'll explain. Because that kind of behavior did not exist in her reality. And when she wanted it to exist in her reality, some grown person took it from her as a child. You understand what I'm saying? Now, she literally changed forms. She became the woman who has power over her sex life by having power over men, to the woman that has power over her sex life by not even exercising that power at all. And then finding something to do that had nothing to do with sex. She didn't transfer that sex. She transmuted that sex drive. She became something that never existed before in her reality. She said her child is listening hard right now. I do apologize, Felicia. Do you get what I'm saying here? She didn't transfer energy. She didn't say, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to have eggs. You see what I did there, Felicia? You see what I did? I'm not going to have eggs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have omelets. No, she didn't do that. What she said was, I am going to not even think about eggs, make eggs, look at eggs, form eggs, draw eggs. You know what? Eggs just don't exist. What exists now is me. And I quote her from last night, because life was good when I found me. See, that was the transmutation, because the meanness of Shannon never existed, not in her awareness. Now, let me pause right there. Shannon, my question to you, I hope you can talk. My question to you, Shannon, if you can talk, is, I don't even have a question. I have more of, tell us what source you wants us to learn from your journey of that transmutation in your own way, in your own expression. Give us what I don't even know you're going to say. Oh, not yet? Okay. She's away from her phone. Anyway, you get the example. So I'll let her respond. The universe wants PJ to go next. PJ, let us hear it.
Okay. I have a question. And I think
By all means.
I think I'm pretty clear on the transference versus transmutation. My question goes back when you pivoted and took a turn and went deep into this and I got confused. Are you saying that to transmute sexual energy is the same thing in the final outcome of being successful as transmuting your entire mindset? See, I was following you great, thinking we're talking about just sexual energy at the moment for transmutation. But then we got into transfer mediocre to mediocre, in different parts of other parts of our lives. So are you lumping sexual energy as turning it into the whole person, the whole mindset change, or just that one particular form of energy?
I'm doing both at the same time. Both at the same time. Let's concisely state this here
yes.
For your knowledge.
I need a bridge. I need a bridge between the two. Okay.
I got you. No problem. What I was doing was, and you nailed it, but we'll keep going. I was explaining that transfer is going from one state to another state. That's one common state to another common state. Just because it's not common for you doesn't make it not common. You understand? It makes, basically, just because you're doing this for the first time doesn't mean it's not this normal thing that people can do without effort. It's just effort for you. This is the first time you've ever done it. Transfer is, I say I'm not as mean as I used to be, but I still complain every chance I get. I just complain sophisticatedly now. You understand? Now I just call the police instead of, there's so many different examples. That's transfer. It's just from, I'm not going to have eggs. What I'm going to do is play with my eggs. Talisha's daughter's listening, right? Did you get it? Okay? But that's just a transfer of energy. You're still getting the release. You're still getting the scrambled, right? The eggs are still coming out scrambled. Napoleon Hill says that scrambling of eggs, that release, that climax, like a story, that boom, anybody can do that. Transmute it. Now this is where you come in, PJ, because you had that first part understood. Take it from cooking eggs to building skyscrapers. We know what cooking eggs mean, right? All right. Take it from wanting to cook eggs or thinking his eggs are cute, and then go to TNT is a global force bringing in $200 million a year. Same energy, but it's been transformed. It's been transmuted. Do you get it? All right, let me ask PJ. Do you get it, PJ, or did I keep it? Hold on, maybe I need to take it out of here because now I'm like, girl, somebody text Felicia what cooking eggs mean. Cooking eggs mean consummating the marriage. No, you don't understand that.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Oh my God.
Lord have mercy.
like, is that one of those wet behind the ears phrases?
I'm sorry.
Yes, it is. No, I just made up cookie. I just made up. That's not slang. I made it up out of the blue. Yes, I just absolutely made up the weirdest thing possible so it could not be decoded. Cooking eggs is how you got here.
It sure could not be decoded.
All right, Steve.
Yes. Yeah, scrambled is the juice that got you here. You understand?
But you did say consummating the marriage, so it's knocking boots on your honeymoon. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Because you married.
And what we want to do is take our egg desires. We want to take our desires for eggs, which is who among you that are eggly active. That's not even that. Who among you are cooking active? You know what I'm talking about.
Like
cookingly active, sexually active, okay? Who among you are active and you wouldn't move mountains to scratch that itch? Because I don't know a single person on planet Earth that would. You understand? Now we're all on the same page.
You got to back up before you lose me again. You got to back up. You got to back up before you lose me.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, because started the I don't have an issue with understanding transfer versus transmutation. Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand taking sexual energy and transmuting it and being more powerful to get to your accomplished outcomes and goals and dreams you want, instead of wasting frivolously with physiological endeavors, etc. Gotcha. I get that. But what I'm trying to find out, because you've mixed the two of the entire mindset of an individual versus just the one aspect of their sexual mindset and energy, are you talking about once you transmutate sexual energy that you're changing your entire mindset, or is it just
I see what you're doing.
Okay,
I get it.
Okay, because anger, all right, you brought up anger. Anger is energy. That's another energy. Sex is energy. That's another energy. Love, energy. Okay, so are you blending them all together with the sex transmutation?
Yes, so because Napoleon Hill.
The whole persona, not just the one.
That's right, because there is no separation of all these energies. It's just energy. There is no egg mindset. There's just only the mind. Do you understand what I'm saying? Remember, that's why I spent a lot of time on the caterpillar and said Brian had the best example. There is no separation from the butterfly to the caterpillar.
Except in that the caterpillar has always been the butterfly, and the caterpillar becomes the butterfly, but the butterfly cannot go back to being a caterpillar.
Right. But that doesn't make it not the same. The butterfly can't go back. No different than when you pop. No different than there are a few of us on this call. Once you truly mastered being positive, you can't go back. I do not know how to mess up my life. I have no idea how. I don't. In order for me to start being negative all over again, it's impossible. Because once I became the butterfly, like PJ said, I can't go back.
But see, I take issue with metamorphosis and transmutation. I don't want to get into a long debate about that. It's just in my mind, I see them as two different things. Changing totally into a different animal or substance or whatever you want to call it, energy, and harnessing energy and utilizing it at will to accomplish what you want to, and being able to put that down when you want to me, it's two different things. So you're saying
harnessing energy is transferring. It is not. Let's do it this way. Everybody follow me. Now, some of you may have a problem with metamorphosis because of your denominational religion. I'm not saying PJ has this problem, but metamorphosis is not a good word in religious circles because it implies, and this just depends on your school of thought, whether it be reincarnation or all sorts of stuff, right? It just implies things that have been pushed out of us. If that's the case, don't worry. I'm about to make you very comfortable with energy changing forms. And I'm about to prove it with your religion. So I'm going to make you comfortable with metamorphosis and energy changing forms, and I'm going to do it with the faith you already have. Is that fair? It would not hurt. This would be very palatable and very comfortable for you to accept. The point of your Bible, if you are, actually it doesn't matter, whether it be Islam, the top 10 religions, top 10, they all say the same thing for the most part. The words, don't get caught up on semantics. That means don't try to find a hole in the detail, because I want to use probably Christian and Islamic words, and you may not agree with that. And you're going to say, well, this word, don't do that. Take the concept. If you can scan, everybody see my hand? Look on the screen. Can you see my hand? The point of sacred text is what is perfect created what was imperfect, so what is imperfect can become perfect. Every religion.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern Orthodox calls it theosis. The Catholic Church calls it, oh, why am I forgetting this? And I have all my degrees in this area. When you go, it's an ongoing process. You don't have a point of conversion. You have an ongoing process. Anyway, it's ongoing. This is why they baptize infants as babies, because it's an ongoing process. Justification. God dog it, I was going to get it. Okay. Calls it justification. Okay. All this, everyone's saying the same thing. What was perfect lowered itself and I don't want to do that yet. I don't want to walk you there. What was perfect created what was imperfect, so what was imperfect can become perfect. No one would disagree with that. That, in its definition, is metamorphosis. Your entire religion is built on one overarching meta-narrative of metamorphosis. The whole religion, no matter what religion, if you're in the top 10, you are designed, your religion is designed about the overarching story of metamorphosis. If you're Christian, every single thing from Genesis chapter 3 in the middle, Genesis chapter 3, verse 10, is all about the metamorphosis of becoming imperfect to bring you back to perfection. The way John in his Bible, okay, I hear you, PJ. John in his, Saint John is what, so the first, the first, I can't even say it that way. John in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, okay, I can't say the first John, it's the first John, says, Jesus, in the beginning was the Word. All right. In the beginning was this Logos that was perfect, and this Logos became man, and man dwelt among us. And then towards the end, boom, truly this is the Son of God. And the reason you gonna get up is because he got up. Paul says it this way: the corruptible must put on the incorruptible. I'm working it out. The imperfect must put on the perfect. Y'all know that scripture, right? We read it at every funeral. Okay, all right. So now you can feel more comfortable with homing in on transmutation metamorphosis or anything like that, because it's already in the comfort and the safety of what you already believe. This is why the people, when the Pharisees, when Jesus, well, if you're Christian, when Jesus resurrected, the first people to become Christians were the Pharisees that had a problem with him. I'll say that. I don't want to be anti-Semitic. Had a problem with him. The Pharisees had a problem with him, but they were the first to convert because they had all the beliefs. You and I, PJ, Grace, we share the same beliefs of transmutation or metamorphosis if we're in the top 10 religions, because it's just transformation or it's just metamorphosis. If you're an atheist, don't worry. You share it with me too if you've ever seen a butterfly or a caterpillar. We're all connected. Got me? Now let's finish.
Okay, so
yeah, go ahead, PJ.
Maybe this question will help get me where I need to get. And maybe I'm trying to put myself ahead of myself.
No, it's okay, but you're doing perfect.
But it'll help give me the big picture.
Good.
The bottom line, if it's the whole person, the whole mindset versus just the sexual energy.
Fantastic. Fantastically said.
I'm not done. Does that mean that once that's accomplished, or is Napoleon Hill implying once you do that, what happens to the other lower level sexual energy? Is he? Because he keeps alluding to this, a lot of men don't succeed until after they're 40. And, we were talking about James being 26, and we know, we concentrate more on the physical aspect of sexuality the younger we are, and as we get older, So, but is this to say, if you successfully harness your energy and sexually transmutate this energy to your, whatever you want to become, does that mean you have no interest in the other physiological sexual
it does
part?
not.
Where does
it does not mean that? It doesn't mean that.
Where does that fit in the
There you go.
Where does that fit?
Good.
There we go.
Good. I answered I got you. I answered in two different ways, but you have now asked the best question of all night. Because, well, let me start from the beginning instead of backwards. Napoleon Hill would say, as long as your lower level of wanting to get your eggs off isn't your burning desire, you'll be fine. But let's face it, we all know at lower level, that is a burning desire for us. What modern New Age thought, and law of attraction would say, as long as getting those eggs isn't your dominant thoughts, then you'll be fine. Now, this is PJ. Thank you very much. I almost want to call people, but I'm going to do it this way. There are some of you on this call. One of you, I've had this conversation with you before. Since you keep trying to, two of you, I had this conversation before. Since you keep trying to kill sex or kill love, you cannot fulfill your dreams. You can't. Because there is a great triangle or a great triune of what is to come in your life. And without the greatest form of energy possible, which is what PJ just asked, or what I do when I want to have eggs, that's the greatest form of power. And if, PJ, to answer your question, if you take that power and say, I have no purpose for this power, you make it harder for you to achieve your dreams. So I correct myself. It's not impossible. You make it far harder. Let's look at people in the real world. But let's not do that. Because now I had to bring up, if you ask a question, I'll bring it up. But yes.
Before you go forward, and please take this in all humility. I'm not trying to be right. I'm trying to be rich. I know how you feel about that.
Have your way.
Okay, but right where you are now, my mind interprets that as managing, not transference, but managing my sexual energy. Even if I transmute it, if I can select and choose when I use it for the physiological servicing of my own body and needs and mind versus accomplishing my billionaire dreams, I'm still managing my sexual energy that I may have transmuted to a higher level, but it's still mine to manage as I choose.
And let me tell you this, the way you just said that is perfect, because you just used the word management. But the way you define management is you transmute it into your billion-dollar empire, is what you said. That's still transmutation. You just understanding, and your understanding as management. And I have no problem with that. You just defined, in your explanation, when you said management, we're now saying the same thing. We're now just using different words.
Okay.
So if you can hold that, if you're comfortable with that, that's not transferring. Not with the example you gave. You can't take, let me lay down, we're creating a billion-dollar empire. That is a whole different, that's not transferring. You know what I'm saying? Like that's transmutation. That's completely different. So as long as you can repeat that to you and be comfortable with that to you, because you have a great understanding of it, just a different word. Then when you teach Think and Grow Rich, you'll just break it down by saying, here's a great way to understand that, management, and here's what I mean, and you go right after it just like that.
So in my journey, you know, I've been married, divorced, whatever, single, you know, all of the above, and been successful through the journey in the endeavors I was going after at the time. So if I'm teaching this to someone myself, and I used myself, I could say that I transmutated my sexual energy and decided to abstain when I thought it was in my best interest for whatever reason, whether it was moral or ethical or religious or practical, or because I was going after my degree, or because I was raising my children, or because I wanted to get a certain level of income, and any other distraction would have gotten in the way of that at the time. That's transformation.
That's absolutely transmutation. Absolutely. This is what you're saying. I took getting eggs and having to take a shower into a degree. I took getting eggs into raising my kids. I took getting eggs to making $57,000 a year. You're saying you are 1,000% correct, TJ. And don't let me correct you, and don't let your auto suggestion correct you. You're just using a different word. And the same way I told y'all, don't use semantics when I gave you my theosis, well, that's probably too much. When I gave you my imperfect to perfect example, is the same way I'm not going to use semantics on you. You are 1,000% correct. You got it.
Thank you.
Sweet. Good job. Good job. Yeah, you got it. You just used a word that has value in your life. That's all. And I respect that. And we're all connected. Did everyone learn from that? That is another doggone example of how generations can communicate with one another. So stop being programmed by mainstream thought. Anyway, let me just pretend as if we never think generations can talk. Go ahead there, James Earl Jackson, the voice of Simba and Lion King.
So I was going to say, I guess this is my question to understand back to the beginning. Is like, after listening to this making of eggs, the way I took that is like, I'm like a horn dog, and I spend a lot of energy chasing tail. So instead of chasing tail, I'm trying to keep it PG. Instead of chasing tail, I should be chasing like education. That's what I'm decoding what you said earlier.
That I have no problem with that either, because you're now saying the same thing PJ said. different words, different vernacular, different meanings. You're just you're just putting it in your own understanding. You're still talking about transmutation. The only thing that I would add to that is I need you to define education. Don't make it general education.
No, it's funny that you used building or going from eggs to skyscrapers, because my first passion was to be an architect and a lawyer. Be an architect and be a lawyer to defend myself.
Fair enough. No problem. If you want to be an architect and a lawyer to defend yourself, by all means, go ahead. You can always use your architectural money to buy you a lawyer to defend yourself.
Yes,
or
yes.
use your law money to buy an architect to build you whatever you want to build. Either way, you can do whatever you want to do because the whole freaking world is yours. You have the understanding like PJ has the understanding. Like FOD now has. See, this is the beauty of life. It's also the beauty of America as well. FOD equated it into 3 examples, and one of them had to do something with anger. Brian used a caterpillar. PJ used management. You used chasing tail and architecture. And all of you are right, because the goal is not to transfer. The goal is to take this cell phone and make it something that is not a cell phone no more. We do this every day. Everyone, I'm going to show you. Yeah, right?
Hey,
Yeah.
Antonio.
Go ahead, PJ.
No, this is Talisha.
Oh. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, is that the same thing as having you guys, the ATS, bringing some of us, like myself, from a low awareness to high awareness?
That's absolutely correct. Because lower level of awareness is in order to get to a high level of awareness. That's transmutation. Let me tell you. I had to sit me down one day and be like, you still got to talk to low level awareness people. Oh, really? Okay. Right? That's just, seriously. In order to get from low to high, that's transmutation automatically.
Okay.
Yeah. Think about it. Well, I don't want you to sound like you just received that. And I call them ceremonial yeses. It's when people say yes just to stop the conversation. So let's make sure you have that. So it's your example. Same thing I did with Brian. To go from low to high. You know what? Let's take it to a real example for you. Let's take it out of hypothetical. Just sending back. Okay. Did she hear? Actually, she heard the example I was giving about her. Talisha, let's talk about you. Let me ask you a question, Talisha. You got your own? Okay, good. Keep your mic unmuted. Ask you a question. Was it scientifically or physiologically, that's the movement of the body, or physics or something, was it scientifically possible for you to get on the plane and stay on the ground at the same time?
No.
See, notice I haven't even talked about the plane taking flight yet. I'm just showing you without ever getting in the air, the plane is higher than the ground. Because in order for something to be a plane, it must not sit belly on the ground. In your example, Talisha, when you said is low to high transformation, you tell me, were you transformed this weekend?
Surely was.
There you go. So now you got your own. Now, then the flame flew around and took off into the air. Now, could you be in the air and in your comfort zone at the same time?
No.
Now, keep your mic unmuted. I'm about to push this further, as far as I could possibly go. Could you be in the air and in control at the same time?
No.
Could you be in the air and safe at the same time?
No.
Yes.
And
My daughter said
you,
yes.
you say yes? Okay, fair enough. You tell your daughter to keep saying yes, she's right. Could you be in the air and never experience turbulence?
No.
Exactly. Some of y'all are so afraid of turbulence, you don't fly. You can't get to higher heights in your life because turbulence keeps you grounded. You got me, Talisha?
Gotcha.
You answered your own question. High from low is transmutation. It'll always be. Got it?
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Most excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
And Antonio,
Go ahead, PJ.
That is why us anger folks don't let the turbulence of anger mess with our transmutation. And I'll use my other old school word, because once we learn how to manage it and transmutate it, because it's okay to be angry as long as you don't let your anger destruct you or mess up your stuff, we can deal with the turbulence.
Right. Now add others in there too. You got destruct you, mess up your stuff. Now make sure your anger don't mess with others, and you got a complete triangle there, and you would never go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There you go. Your Bible, not PJ, but your second person plural says, be angry, but do not sin. Okay? Remember that. And the only way to sin, according to Christianity, because Islam is a bit different, according to Christianity, is you can only sin against God or against man. It's only two ways to sin.
Oops,
well,
one more.
You know what?
One more.
Sure,
one more.
go ahead. Mm-hmm.
And it fits into this class so great. I can't wait for you to get there. And that is the sin against your own body. And according to the sacred text, the only horrific, horrible sin is the sin against your own body. It is the most destructive sin there is. And I'm going to leave that right there.
Okay, we'll leave that one alone. I got plenty to say about that one, but we'll leave that alone.
Can I say something about that? Because I feel like
you paid to be here. Of course you can.
All right, yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm asking. I'm just trying to be modest. What I'm getting at is, I have a problem with that one. I don't have a problem with it, but I don't understand, and I seek to gain understanding, because a sin against my own body would be like masturbating versus to go out and bang some other chick. Wouldn't that be like sinning against their body and my body? But it's like,
hey, that's good. That's good. No, that's good. That's beautiful that you asked that. The best way I want you to understand that it is a transfer of energy from your eggs to her eggs. It's just a transfer of energy, right? From your skillet to her skillet. You understand? Is we on the same page? Okay, good. Remember, transferring of energy, and now keep this in context of sex transmutation, okay? Transferring of energy, it works, but it doesn't always it actually rarely gets you to the next level. It rarely solves the problem. It never lets you conquer yourself. It is a temporary solution. To transfer energy is just temporary. You know that when you rob Peter to pay Paul. It eventually catch up with you, don't you? Now, if you are international, you know that is what you call a idiotism, and it doesn't make sense in your language. It's when you use one credit card to pay with another credit card. You transfer balances. That will eventually catch up with you. Okay, you got me? Chapter.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, good. Now, watch this.
Yes.
The reason why I love and respect your question is for two reasons. One, because you have it. I respect it because we teach it. And what we do is we teach you how to put a Band-Aid on your desires instead of transmuting them.
Put a Band-Aid on the desire. I was just gonna say, what if the Band-Aid isn't a remedy? Like putting a Band-Aid on, like, I don't know, something more worse than a little scab.
Yeah. You not having control of your egg life, right? Yeah, I'm loving this. You not having control of your egg life. You know what I'm talking about, right? Egg life. We got that. Egg. Yeah. All right, good. You not having control of your egg life is equivalent to having a broken leg that's severed, and the only thing holding it together is a piece of skin, and you put a Band-Aid on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you don't believe that, just Google AIDS report in your county, and I can assure you, no, egg life to DJ, egg life equal this life. I just typed in the chat. Okay. I just typed in the chat. Okay. We got Talisha's daughter listed, so I'm using different words. Now, pay attention real quick though, James. If you think, oh, she can read. Oh, come on, Talisha. Come on. Come on.
I'm sorry. I made her smart.
Nah, I'm just joking with you. Look, she got a high level of awareness. She get it today. James, here's what I want you. That was cute. That was so cute. She typed that back. She can read. James, here's what I want you to get. If you think playing with your eggs in a skillet it's gonna work, why you do it more than once? If it solves
the second
problem,
part, why do it?
If you think
okay, I
your
got
eggs
it. Yeah.
in your skillet solves the problem, why do you do it more than once? Because it never solves the problem. It transfers the problem. It's got to be like the realest thing I said tonight. It just transfers the problem. It doesn't solve the problem. It transfers the problem. It transfers the problem to, and depending on how fast you get bored, it'll be right back up. But these are facts. This like, you understand.
Yes.
You get it? All right, good. So we have gaining a full understanding of transmutation. It is not to transfer. Did Shannon hear the example I gave her? She needs to format. I don't know. So Shannon's here. I'm gonna bring back up the story of Shannon again because it's worth telling twice. On the outside, James, it seems as if Shannon transferred power, but it wasn't. Transferring power would be playing with eggs in her skillet. She didn't do none of that. She ain't play no eggs in the skillet. She ain't play with no eggs. She ain't cook no eggs. She ain't entertain no eggs. She ain't watch no eggs on no TV.
Oh man.
You know eggs. Yeah. You know what eggs on TV mean, right? You know how you turn your volume all the way down. Y'all know how y'all. Okay, all right. Just want to make sure. I need to make sure that we are cohesively together in the class. So now, she ain't do none of that. What Shannon did was, okay, this is how I used to be. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to go eggless for a year or abstinent. Okay, I'm going to go abstinent for a year. I'm not on a date. Nobody. In fact, I've heard her tell people, catch me in November. It was January. But her friends heard her tell people, if you want to date me, apply again in November. Because I can't entertain it for 11 months. I can't. We've heard this. That was transmutation. Because in her awareness, in her reality, no one had ever done that before. Maybe on TV or something, but not in her reality. She became a new creature. And that's why she has the level of awareness she has now. But Shannon, if you're there, walk us through in your own way, whatever source wants you to say at this moment. I'm arguing that you transmuted yourself with that process. Take us on your journey. Tell us what source wants you to say. Do whatever you have to do. I won't restrict it. I won't control it. I'll just allow it. If you can add value right here to help someone, that would be great, because your story is fascinating and you are a great example of transmutation. Hopefully she heard me this time.
I did hear you.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you so much for.
Thank you.
I'm driving, so I'm gonna turn my heater down a little bit because it's like sub-zero in Texas right now.
Okay. Yeah, it is. We don't know what to do either.
But I realized by reading the chapter, because if y'all realize where we are in class right now, we're in like January. And the reason why November happened is because when I made the decision, I had already not slept with anyone since November. And I was so unsure if I was going to make it that I retro. I went back 2 months. I didn't start in January by saying it's going to start right now. I'm like, no, I'm going to go back to November. That means I'm only have 10 months to really have to do this, because I didn't believe that I would be able to, because I recognized how powerful I was in the area. Now, I was not out there just humping everything and everybody, but at the same time, that's where my control was, because a lot of my satisfaction in life came from being the boss in relationships. And I was like, okay, this chapter says that that energy can be channeled other places, and it is not serving me in the way and in the method that I'm utilizing it. It's actually keeping me dead. It's keeping me dormant. It's keeping me away from my burning desire. It's keeping me away from living my dream. It's keeping me in a cycle of mediocrity and ultimately abuse. So I was like, I can control this power. I can control this energy, and I can make it work for me. I do not have to use my sex energy in the physical act of sex. I can find another. The only way I was going to get what I wanted to get out of life was to take where I felt like I was a champion and actually become a champion. Because I wasn't championing anything by having great sex. I'm sorry, eggs. I apologize.
Great eggs.
But now I'm the champion of me. You know, I'm living my life, and I only went a year. Shannon is no longer without pleasure in that area, but I know a greater energy. I experience energy beyond an orgasm. I experience that type of energy without having to have somebody inside my loins. And it was because I took away the act, and so I had to find different ways of getting that same feeling. So when people say striking a deal or writing a paper or doing some research is the same as having an orgasmic experience, I've experienced that. Like, I'd much rather read a great book and write about it. That would give me so much pleasure than to lay next to a man, even though I do enjoy laying next to a man. You know, it's different. It's so much different. The actual act of intercourse is different for me now. Even, you know, I don't feel like Zelda. You know, I don't feel like I've got to be a barbarian. I mean, I can, but at the same time, I'm not trying to fulfill that area, that part of me, because I fulfill it in other ways. And I channel that energy to where I get what I want from life by sex transmutation and not what I want from men. So that's it.
I had to mute my whole mic and give out a good laugh. Zelda, man, you brought it all the way back. Nintendo 64. Yeah, buddy. Before I get FOD next, someone tell me, okay, I got FOD, then BJ. But before I get them next, Someone tell me what you just learned from Shannon and I's discourse.
Instead of, I guess the way I see it is every time I want to like play with my eggs, I need to focus on, I need to focus that energy and transmute that energy into something that'll benefit me. Like I like how she used read a book and write about it. I'm over here like, I don't know about the write about it part, but I see that's where the energy is transmuted, because now that energy is used in writing, and that ingenuity that comes with writing that's the ecstasy behind, it's like a greater ecstasy than having sex. I meant playing with eggs.
Yeah, and you said that so well. You may have just said it equally as good as Shannon, or even better. Check this out. Let me give you an idea. Let's say you take Shannon's approach and you read a book and write about it. Do you know how many podcasts would come off that paper?
Cool.
Right? You know how many podcast episodes? You would be able to literally line by line say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I read this great book. I want to talk about it for the next couple of months. And I want to start with this line right here, and then go. Other people will be producing your podcast and the episodes, all because you transmuted your eggs. Feel me?
Yes, sir.
Outstanding. Chantel, you can ask Shannon a quick question. And you ain't got to make it like super quick. I don't want to control you or nothing, but ask your question.
Yeah. Okay. Shannon, can you tell me basically what is your mental process? What is your self-talk when you are intentionally maybe having the desire through this year to want to, what is it? Transport eggs? I don't know I know what y'all mean, but y'all killing me. So when you make that, what is your process? Are you like, okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to prepare myself, okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it towards this? Is it literally just that? Is it as fulfilling?
So great, that's a great question. What I did was I recognized behavior, and it was through taking the leadership class that I realized, okay, when I get bored, I text, hey big head, what's up? Or it got to the point where I didn't have to text anything. I had a couple of people that just knew, okay, it's Friday night, Shannon probably out drinking somewhere, so let me hit her up. Or I know where she frequents, so let me see. Or I know she can go for a good Jack, honey, and Coke, so let me call up and see if I knew that was going to happen. I knew definitely Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm good. And so I changed up my method in that I hung with my team more than I hung with the guys. I stopped going to the bar. I started coming to the office more. I started reading the books more, and it met the information in the books and the information in the mastermind met my energy. And it was like, whoa, I just sat in the office and laughed and talked and had empowerment sessions with these fools, and I feel great. I feel like, I had an experience. I don't long for, I'm not lusting after anything, because that part of me is being fulfilled by me just being open and having all of this knowledge imparted upon me. And it was like, it got to the point where I didn't even have time. And I didn't want it because I was fulfilled in other areas. I said that I wasn't dating. That was the hardest thing, because I do like companionship. I like going to the movies and doing all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, what got me there wasn't going to get me here. So I had to do something drastically differently. And actually, Chantel, I didn't know how to do it. I took it literally one day at a time, and I had to keep, that's why they know November, because I had to keep telling myself. And sometimes it was like, okay, November is like 4 months away. In 4 months, I'm going to jump on something. Because I would get low. I would get like, okay, I can't take this. I'd rather just go hump somebody, because I was building my character as well. And I felt out of control, and I've always been in control. I've always been the leader of my pack. And it took me joining a pack where I could not be the leader in order to become great.
Wow.
You know, it took me being a follower, but following something good, something pure, something that didn't want to use me, something that didn't want to sleep with me, something that didn't have me around just because I'm a pretty face, or, you know, something that a team that had me around because of the giftedness they saw in me, and that was it. And so when that meets your energy and that meets a vibration that lay dormant for so long, and as soon as your vibration starts to rise, you stay connected to the entity that raises that vibration, you learn a whole different meaning of what an orgasm even is. Wow. I can go sleep with a guy tomorrow, and it can be great, and I can have a great experience, but I'm not zapped out. I'm not like, oh, yeah, that's what I needed. I'm like that after calls like this.
Right.
I was like that after Tuesday. Because I'm giving the energy I used to give no name in a bed, I give to things that are my dreams, things that are my passion, people that I feel, you know, people that I meet vibrationally. That's the transmutation of it. It's just different. Yeah, sex is great. Eggs are great. I love eggs. But at the same time, it's not life. It's not the epitome of an experience for me. It's great. I even learned how to channel energy in that area in a different way. I didn't know control until after I stopped controlling it. So exactly how I did it, I couldn't give you a play-by-play. What I know is that I was open. I said I wasn't dating anybody, and I used my team a whole lot when I felt like I was getting weak and I was going to cave.
Chantel, we'll give you an opportunity to respond back.
Can I help you,
That's an
Chantel?
appropriate response. Yeah, that's an appropriate response. That speechlessness. Help out James, and then Chantel jump in there, and y'all can tag team in tandem.
Okay, because Chantel, that question helped me. What I got out of that is basically like don't set yourself up in a position where you can't fall back. And I like how she says she would. It's almost like the team. Like I'm realizing I got like chills right now. ATS is a shield, so lean on the shield when you need it. So she goes. Instead of going out, she would be in the office more.
Yeah,
it makes sense because like there's times where I had football practice. And I had some knuckleheads who would say, let's go do this. But I'm like, bro, I got football practice. I could have easily went to go do that. And those same dudes are probably not dudes that I would ever associate with today. And me going to football practice, I see it in my everyday work. When I'm at work, people are like, oh, you're so disciplined. I'm like honestly, it's like, no, I just play football. I know if I don't say it nicely, I'd get popped in the mouth. I'd have to run laps. So it's like, set yourself up where you can't fall. If you know you're weak, put a boundary. I'm telling you this. I need to take my own advice on boundaries, and like me, I'm gonna be very transparent right now. Me and my girl from 3 years. Some of you guys met her. I basically had to cut the tie. I had to cut that tie because like that's one of those things. What got me here won't get me there. And I'm going to share this story. She got me here because if it wasn't for me going to California, being on that plane with her, I would have never sat next to Antonio. Wow. And after I met Antonio, I went through Shannon's course, retraining the subconscious mind, and I also I'm like 2 more videos from completing the overcoming low self-esteem, and I'm like, babe, me and you be going through this. Let's sit down and watch this. she'd rather be on Instagram or whatever it is she does. Me, I'm just like, I'm receiving this information, overcoming the low self-esteem. By the time I'm like overcoming it, I realize like she can't go where I'm going, and not everybody can go where you're going. So it's like setting boundaries. That's the moral of everything. It's like set the boundaries, and if you know you're weak, like how she transmuted that energy into reading a book instead of eggs. Um, like I just took that in. Hey Shannon, I actually got a T-shirt design already just from from you talking, and what I want to put on the shirt is "Kill the Lust," just like that. Like you inspired me. That your transmutation is overflowing when I'm already being transmuted, just right there.
Send me a shirt, man.
Absolutely. like I'm gonna design them in the next like 2 hours and pin them online. I'll personally buy it for myself and send it to you. So now I just set my.
Give me your link. Give me your website. I'll buy a couple of them. I need it.
Yes, ma'am. And with that, you see how it just me saying that right now. I just put up a boundary. Now I have to execute, because if I don't execute, it's all talk. I just put a boundary up to now I have a desire to do something that is going to better me versus like hanging up the phone call and not doing anything with what I've learned in this moment.
Beautiful. James, let me jump in here real quick. I had a dream last night. It's weird that you say that. And I was going to go do some T-shirts from another place, but then I said, you know what? I'm just going to have it all online because, and I had a reason I won't say or record it. Guess what, buddy? You're doing 10 of my T-shirts.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
They're going to be on my website, and you're doing 10 of my T-shirts. But guess what? Me and you are splitting the profits.
Already. Absolutely. I'll get with you on the designs, and I'll need if you want your logo, I'll need your logo, and then incorporate that into the design. Everything else is creative control on my end.
One of them can have my logo, but all of them going to have your creative control. This is what I want you to do. I just want you to come up with 10 different sayings. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Or 10 different shirts. I don't want to tell you sayings, but you got 100% control. Just send them to me, and then we'll put them up, and I'll send the traffic, and you get paid.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. And of course,
absolutely.
I mean
Thank
it's right.
you.
I mean everything right now. That's me, right? That's always me. New website coming up, and you're going to be the first merchandise on the store. And everybody who buys, I'll be sending you checks.
Yes, sir.
That's because what Shannon said to you worked out. You received it, and you transmuted it. And the universe told me you're the fastest, quickest, most harmonious way to my 2019 goals. And believe me, brother, I am not playing. It is on my 2019 goals. I can show you my note right now. It is there. And I had no idea that you were the fastest, quickest, most harmonious way for me to get there. Look at that. And you got 18 T-shirt designs. Kill the Lust is one of them.
My notes from you and Shannon talking, and this is where it started. So it's on. Done deal.
That's amazing. So there you go. So you got Kill the Lust with Shannon. You got 10 more with me. Congratulations. Let's get together throughout the week, and I'm going to feature you on the website. And you know what, buddy? The universe has done something great with you, and I'm actually absolutely glad I met you on that plane. Because you got a job out of it, didn't you?
Yes.
If you're getting paid. You got some money in your pocket, don't you?
Yeah. Make the money, make money.
Yeah. That's it, man. Good. I met this guy just by coincidence on a plane. And that you hear won't get you there. Great job. Chantel, let me give you a chance to chime in because you was left speechless. And then James said his great thing. And then BJ, you're next. Ebony, I'm going to save you for last. Everything in the universe is telling me to save you for last.
You know, I realized.
Chantel, you want to say something?
Yeah. I just hearing Shannon, I have literally always been aware of the higher frequency with, like-minded, with more, building my awareness, with building my knowledge, with my consciousness, building my consciousness. And I have always desired that more than anything. And when it comes to comparing that energy and that desire towards the desire of, sex, I realized that I got weak after a certain amount of time. And I realized that here right now in this call that I've been there. I'm like, I want this more, I want this more. But there was never no real deep control for it because I was never aware of how powerful it was. So I've never really made it a point to say, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to put this on. I've done that with many things, with breakups, with jobs. I'm about to quit next week. I ain't lying. I'm going to quit. I've done that. But with these specific subjects and these energies here, I never realized how powerful it was, and I've never stuck to it or felt like it was significant enough to make it a big deal. So I'm really grateful.
Good stuff. We're grateful for you too. BJ, let us hear from you, man.
Hey. All right. Man, this is great stuff. But I have been studying this stuff for a little bit. Sexual transmutation, it really works. But I wanted to point out something in Shannon's story, and I think it's a big part of the sexual transmutation, is that she did not try to suppress the desire, right? She took her egg. She didn't, saying I'm stop eating eggs and just throw them all out against the wall or whatnot. And so, but instead of just eating one egg, and one egg ain't gonna fill nobody up, it's not satisfying. She took her eggs and built it up and let it hatch, so she can get chickens and buckets of chickens and all kind of great things, so you can have a full meal instead of just eating that one egg. If this analogy makes sense to what I'm saying, so yeah, all I'm saying is just be careful that when we're doing this sexual transmutation, is that we're not suppressing the desire. We're taking that desire, that burning desire, and that power from it and transform. I think that's what y'all already said, but I got on the call late, and I was at a basketball game. But I wanted to just point that out, that that's a very important part, taking that power of the egg and, hatching some chickens instead of just eating a little meal or throwing it away and throwing it, throwing eggs across the street or whatnot. So yeah, that was my little 2 cents.
Most excellent, man. Most excellent. BJ, remind me to get in touch with you tomorrow. I want to remember when we started last year, I want to do the same thing for you and make it a lot easier so where you don't have to make any phone calls or anything, but I want to put some money in your pocket. Do you mind?
Oh yeah, man, that's a blessing. Go ahead. God bless those who bless me. So come on and get your blessing.
There it is. So I'll be hitting you up tomorrow and give me an opportunity to put some money in your pocket. FOD, take your time. Don't worry about the 4 minutes we have left. I'll let you go over. But everything in me is telling me you got something to say.
Well, I really hope it doesn't go too much over. But so I've never really had a problem with eggs, despite the fact that I have 2 children. But just in the sense where, because that when I wasn't in a relationship, I was heavily involved in the church. So I guess that's where all of my energy went into, feeding homeless people and singing in the choir and all that kind of stuff. But my question is that because you're talking about how powerful it is when you have that urge to transmute it, but what if you don't have that urge as often, or it's not, then how do you harness that if you don't really care for eggs? And another thing also is that with what you're saying, help me understand it, is that technically everyone on this call that has heard this information now has to either get a divorce, break up, move out, if their partner doesn't agree with this whole transmutation thing, because depending on what culture, and especially my culture, my religion, where you're not going to just dictate on your own when we're going to be eating eggs. I want eggs, you better give me some eggs. So how does that work?
Great question. We'll work backwards. The transmutation has nothing to do with lack. Remember, there is no lack. And your question was based on, well, when is the lack? Because I'm not going to be doing it, so you got to get divorced, separated, or something like that. To simplify this is when you are in a long-term relationship, marriage, we'll say for right now, it's not to offend people, the act of making eggs is transmutation in that case, because it's you also serving. Remember, money is relationship. And if you don't treat your intimate relationship correctly, then you can't be in a correct relationship with money. Everything's energy, yes, everyone? Yes, yes. So let me make it more simple. How I treat my wife is how money treats me. There's a scripture in the Bible that says the same thing. First Peter, 3rd chapter, verse 7. And we love to quote as men, verses 1 through 6. We love to say, oh, MOD, you need to listen and you need to pay attention. And matter of fact, you're beautiful. Be silent and wear a dress and all the other stuff. And we say, now submit to your husband. And we do that and we leave. But verse 7 says, likewise, Antonio, if you don't submit, Tempest, your prayers will be hindered. You see that? If I don't equally be in relationship with you, then money cannot equally be in a relationship with me. Everything is relationship, because everything is energy. It's all about your relationship with energy. Do you understand what I'm saying so far? Almost.
But you're saying married. Can we still say even if it's just a common law or a boyfriend?
Even if it's just a common law or boyfriend, what I was trying to do is not offend my conservative crowd. But even if it's common law, boyfriend, or whatever, because it's still a relationship. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's still a relationship. It's still two people serving one another.
But what?
Now, I'm about to add to it, though.
Okay.
Go ahead, though. No, go ahead.
It's basically, what if the other person doesn't like that idea of whatever it is that you're trying to do, control it or whatever?
Yeah,
yes, you can serve
that's
it.
Exactly what I was about to. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to add to it. Because this is what principle is this? Anyone remember what principle it is? I want to say it's 10 or 11. Let me look real quick. This is principle. Persistence is 8. Power to mastermind is 9. 10 is enthusiasm. What principle is sex transmutation? Somebody get your chapter. Oh, it's book right here. Never mind. Let's choose point 2. Chapter 11, so it's principle 10. This has an extra chapter. This is principle 10. There were 9 principles before this. And this is how, what I was going to add to that. Yes. The Holy Healing goes to chapter 1. Hey, check this out. Watch how you making eggs. No. My man said, Antonio, you got your burning desire together? You got your face together? Right? You have, because if your partner doesn't agree with these things, your partner doesn't agree with principles 1 through 9 either. You understand what I'm saying? This is what people will call evenly yoked. Don't be fully compatible in the bed, but not fully compatible in dreams. We don't want to be fully compatible. Oh yeah, unevenly yoked. I said evenly yoked. We don't want to be fully compatible laying down. But the only time I tell you I love you is when we laying down. We want to have organized thought in our relationship, don't we? We want to have the power of decision making in our relationship. You want, in fact, this is going to bring me to your first problem now. First thing you said. I'm getting ready to say, do you want a man that don't take out the trash? Now watch this here, because it brings me to the first part. You asked the strongest question that I've heard from you in years. If I don't have this egg drive or this burning desire, well, you didn't say burning desire, but this ambition to either do eggs, change eggs, or control eggs, then how do I get that? Everybody listen to me. You can't get what you don't have. You can't harness what you do not have. Please hear me very well. If you are a man or a woman with no love, no eggs, no anything, you are a man or a woman with no ambition. Why would I even be with you with no dreams? You know a person with dreams but no action, you know what that is? I call them dreamers. Steve Harvey made a movie about it. The bright guy with the brown eyes was the dreamer. He ends up getting Taraji P. Henson in the end. He put some action behind his dreams and he got the girl. Love, eggs, is the greatest force on planet Earth. It should be triangled with the power of thought and the power of action. I'll say it again. Love is the greatest force on planet Earth, but it should be triangled with the power of thought, organized thought preferably, and the power of action, not quitting 3 feet from goal. And when you have thought and you have action and you try to impress the girl you want to date, you achieve that goal. When you have thought and you have action and you try to serve that man you love because you want him to live his dreams, you have desired results. Women, some women, more women should do whatever it takes to make sure their significant other is living their dreams. Men should do whatever it takes to make sure their significant other is living their dreams. Did you see how I made serving not a gendered role job? The same thing I said for women is the same thing I said for men. Now watch how I flip it. That's the serving part. Women, let me do men first, because this is what you expect me to say. Men should do everything they can to provide for their woman. Women should do everything they can to provide for their man. Did you see how I made provisions, not gender specific? Because neither of these things are. Just like blue isn't for boy and pink isn't for girls. It's just something we freaking made up. That's all. Blue and pink, when a baby is born, is something we made up. It's just colors. It's actually the absence of the color. Break it down this way, MOD. You need all three to be successful. You need the power of love, the power of thought, and the power of action. If someone has the power of thought, but not the power of love, and not the power of action, they're more than likely a procrastinator. They think too much, and the person they're with, they don't care enough about to actually do something, and they lazy and they ain't got no action. I just described the procrastinator. All thought, no love, but I do love her, but when you gonna change, bro? When you gonna be a provider? Man. But I love her though. Okay, when you gonna stop making her be the man and the woman? When can she get her nails done? Why she got skin hanging off all the nails like that? What's wrong with you? Why she get home at 11 and the house dirty? You don't love her. You love not being homeless. Y'all know me. I ain't changing. You
So
don't
how do
love
you
that
add
girl. Yeah. More complicated question, simple answer. And I'm going to do my very best to define, to answer it in the, as if Think and Grow Rich is the only book alive. There's no other books, no religion, just Think and Grow Rich to keep it in context, Think and Grow Rich. You find love, develop love by simply you define love, you develop love. I'm trying my best not to put Abraham Hicks in here because I really want to, but I'm not. Love is simply sex energy maintained, controlled, and aimed with someone that keeps you away from the 31 causes of failure, that allows you to stay out the the 6 types of fear, and that can be a mastermind group with you, even if it's just you and that mate. More simple answer. So you want to answer.
That would solve a lot of my problems
like
if that
5
man
chapters.
would come up.
Yeah, that's how you found that man would come up, right? Yeah. You want a mastermind. You want to have a mastermind group with just you and your mate. If you can't get what Shannon was describing in that mastermind group both tonight and now with just your mate, that ain't your mate. That's your distraction.
Damn. Wow.
That's it. That's your mate. If you can't get that Phil Sorrentino and Susan Sorrentino love, that ain't no that's look. You think humor consultants came because Phil is smart? No. Humor consultants came because they were a mastermind group all by themselves. You understand what I'm saying? When you, some of you, I dang near want to name names, but what I'll do is I cut my camera off. I'll point, and I just mouth the names. If you try to X out love, you weaken yourself by 33%. You can't. Human beings were put here to honor man. How dare you love your God but not love man? Inappropriate, grossly irresponsible, unbiblical. It's problematic. It's hypocritical. You're a tyrant. You're wrong. You've been bamboozled. Run amok. Plymouth Rock did not land on you. Well, you didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on you. In order for all of you, ladies and gentlemen, hear me well, because we're getting ready to end. Triangle. Some of you have had sex so many years, you say, I just don't want it. All right. But where's love? Because if I pass the microphone right now and ask you if you got friends and you tell me no, that's why you're not successful. There was a great movie that had a philosopher named Harry Potter. And Harry Potter was talking to another philosopher, Voldemort. And Harry Potter was telling Voldemort and secret chambers, the Chamber of Secrets. Voldemort was coming. You're weak, Harry. You're weak. You're weak. You're a loser. Master Wooden Chamber of Secrets. Order of the Phoenix. You're weak, you loser. And then Harry Potter flipped it on him and said, no, you're weak. Because you don't have any friends. because you don't have love. And he overcame the Dark Lord with the power of love. Y'all are here by the grace of love. It is the CEO trying to impress his secretary that changes the world. It is the CEO with the curly-haired business partner trying to provide for her that makes Shannon come home and retire. It is the Essie taking care of Marianne that gives life and comfort to two baby girls. It's the hard-working, PhD pursuing mother with a full plate that has no business and no time to be a mother. But love never lets her stop being one or slacks up on the job. And for all of you, if you miss love, and by love, that's sex, transmutation. If you don't transmute sex into love, what happens is, James, specifically to you, those who become bitter when love leaves, they go into poverty. Those who appreciate that love came, they go to prosperity. Everything's a triangle when it comes to this great awareness. Power of thought, power of action, power of love. You will never be successful without love. If by chance you are successful, it will be without things. They have a word for that. They call them monks. Great awareness. Great friendships. No earthly possessions. Antonio T. Smith Jr., you can plan better. You can dominate. We appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. We love you. Thank you for all you do. And we'll see you next time. 2 more weeks of this, and then we'll move on. Now you see PJ why I split it up in the 4 weeks. Love you, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.